Welcome to the Three Mouseketeers, the sibling podcast that understands your Disney addiction. I'm Jared.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Chris.
So, as you can all tell, Emily is not here. We do have an Emily replacement. It is Chris. Chris, thank you for being on the show with us while Emily is away. So tonight we're going to be... What's that?
I was going to say, it's my pleasure to be an Emily replacement.
Oh, well, somebody has to do it. For those of you who don't know, Emily has just purchased a new house and she's busy dealing with all that and getting internet set up and stuff like that. So expect Emily back at some point in the future. But as of right now, we have Emily replacement. So thank you, Chris. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Beauty and the Beast and the anniversary that is coming up this month. But first, I'm going to give you some trivia. You guys ready to play?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So this one is, like, pretty much everything is Beauty and the Beast that I prepared for tonight. So this one is, who did Disney plan on casting in Beauty and the Beast? And I do have multiple choice.
Okay, because there's a lot of people.
There would be a lot of people. You are right. So is it A, Robin Williams, B, Danny DeVito, C, Jason Alexander, or D, John Goodman?
I don't remember seeing any of those.
Yeah.
So what part were they supposed to play?
I can't tell you that.
Was it all different parts? Or was it one specific?
It was every part. It's a one-man show.
Just who did they plan on casting in the movie that didn't make an appearance, did not show up?
Okay, well, I didn't know if they were all supposed to be on the same part.
No,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
it's
not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not anything
I would
like
say Robin Williams.
Who?
Yeah, that would probably be my guess too.
So I do want to mention that every person on this list has been in a Disney animated film before.
Yes.
Yep.
So you're still going with Robin Williams.
Yep.
None of them sound... I don't remember hearing any of them specifically for this, and I did see several people who were mentioned, but none of these people that I see. So go ahead.
And my thought process was that Aladdin had come out about a year before, and so they're wanting Robin Williams to also play in this before all of the fallout between Robin Williams and Disney.
Well, now that you mention that, that's a good point that they were so close together, because a lot of times, unless it's the same part, they don't bring somebody back because of that voice is already registered for somebody else. Does that make sense? Like people already recognize it as something else.
Yeah.
So if it's close together, they usually don't use the same person. Who are the other people again?
So it's A, Robin Williams, B, Danny DeVito, C, Jason Alexander, or D, John Goodman.
Maybe Jason Alexander.
All right. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep,
of
sure.
course, you guys, with Chris's first time on the show, you're going to go two different answers. Well, I'm going to
Emily
say...
replacement, remember?
That's true. So why not do what Emily does? Okay, so Chris, you're picking Robin Williams. Amanda, you're picking
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander. Okay. One of you is incorrect, and the other is also
correct.
incorrect. So Robin Williams and Jason Alexander are not the correct answer. John Goodman is not the correct answer either. Danny DeVito was planned, and the character of Lefou was actually designed around Danny DeVito.
Interesting.
So it's
I cannot see
pretty
him.
little fun fact.
I can't see him being Lefou.
Are you serious?
I totally can.
I completely can.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just because of what he is now with his high squeaky voice, I just can't see it being Danny DeVito.
I don't know. I could see it. I think one of the reasons why we didn't get Danny DeVito in this role is because of the singing aspect in the film. But if you look at early character sheets, it even had Danny DeVito's name on it.
Now, is this in
Interesting.
the live action or the animated?
No, this is animated.
Okay.
So you both got it wrong.
Yep. Look at you.
Look
You
at me
did
go. I did it. All
You
right.
double did it. You stumped us both.
Yes, finally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since Emily's not here, we're going to skip over a history fact this week. But Amanda, why don't you go ahead and get into your tip?
All right. This week, I want to mention bringing money for tips. I know a lot of places you don't tip anymore, but anytime someone touches your luggage to help you load it into the car, load it into the Magical Express, anything like that, the bellhops, you should definitely tip anytime anyone like that helps you with your luggage. It's just the nice thing to do. And their positions are tip dependent, like the bellhops are. So make sure you have a little bit of cash to give them when they help you.
I would also go and say that, like, if you have a cab, maybe, like either going to or from the airport, kind of transportation related.
Yeah, I mean, that could be good too. A lot of those now, I think, are more digital or
Well, I know
credit
like
card
Uber
type.
and Lyft, they would be. So you wouldn't
Right. I
necessarily
think
have to
cabs
carry
are
cash.
usually too now.
Okay, I don't
So
take cabs, so I don't know.
yeah, so you may not have that option, but sometimes you do. So good
Well, I
point.
was thinking also the last time we were there, the groceries we got, they were delivered at the front desk, and they brought them up for us. So it's another good
Right.
time to have some tip money.
Exactly. That's a good point. So like anytime someone like that helps you, you should definitely tip.
Yeah, very good point. All right, well, let's go ahead and go on to the segment of the week. And for this week, we have hero or villain. And actually, to keep it Beauty and the Beast related, I picked Lefou. What do you think is your first reaction for Lefou, hero or villain?
I'm gonna say neither. And my reasoning is going to be because of his name. So I don't know if y'all knew, but Lefou is pronounced like the French word for, or the French phrase, the idiot. So I think he's just an idiot.
Okay.
I don't remember this being a hero, villain, or other.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't.
it
I
is
don't either.
today.
But Amanda makes her own rules. We all know that.
Oh, I know.
I guess I would probably say he's not a hero. He's definitely not a hero. So if the only other option is villain, then I'd have to say villain.
Okay.
I think he's a hero.
And why do you
I mean,
think he's a hero?
not only does when he figures out that Belle doesn't like Gaston, he tries to divert Gaston's attention to the other girls, but also he leads them in the song and the big chorus line in the tavern. That's got to be a hero right there.
I mean,
So
that's a
just
good
because
point.
you sing, that means
He has
you're
a
a
great
hero?
singing voice. You can't be a villain and have a great singing voice and get everybody else in the tavern to sing with you.
I
He
don't
has.
know. I mean, if we think
don't know.
You
about
can be bad and
Tangled,
have a good. You can be bad and have a good singing voice, but can you get everybody else to sing on their own accord with you just because they want to?
I think you can.
See, right there, hero.
I think
See?
you can because I keep going back to Tangled.
There is a room full of villains that are singing.
But they're not
together.
a room full of villains. They were a room full of just normal town folk.
No, they were villains.
No, they
turned
had a
out to
spell.
be.
They had a spell cast over them, and they didn't know any better.
What movie are you watching?
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I picked this one because it's a little difficult. Like, I kind of agree with Chris in a sense of like he kind of tries to distract Gaston's attention away from Belle because he's like, oh yeah, and what about like you could have anybody you want? And Gaston, of course, we know is like, well, Belle's the prettiest. Obviously, she's the best. I deserve the best. But Lefou is, kind of trying to lead him in different directions. But at the same time, I mean, he is just a lackey of Gaston. And to follow somebody who's that egotistical and narcissistic, I mean, you kind of have to be somewhat of a villain to not just say, you know what, I'm not dealing with this guy.
Right.
Or he's a hero to keep him distracted so he doesn't hurt anybody else.
That's fair. But at the same time, I think that he's a little too much in love with Gaston. I don't think we can realistically say that he's just playing a part to distract Gaston. I think that he really is in love with Gaston. So for that reason, I think I'm going to lean villain.
You all are just jealous.
Of what? Of the idiot?
Of Lefou?
Exactly.
I am extremely jealous of his ponytail. You are correct.
Oh, yikes.
And his singing prowess.
Yes, that too. Which I didn't know if you guys knew this, but the guy who played Lefou was a Broadway singer.
Not surprising.
Not surprising at all. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's go ahead and go into the main topic. Our main topic is Beauty and the Beast. The movie, the animated movie, is coming up on its 30th anniversary. So this is why we picked this one in particular. The release date was November 22nd, 1991. So we're coming up on 30 years very soon.
Yes. Next Monday. No. Yeah, next Monday. That's pretty quick.
Yep. Pretty quick indeed.
In a week.
So what do you want to do first? Because I picked out some fan theories because I absolutely love fan theories. But do you want to talk about the movie and some aspects of it before we get into that, or do you want to start with that?
Let's do the movies or the facts about the movies first.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Fact.
What do you got?
Yeah. So the first one I have is Mrs. Potts was originally not named Mrs. Potts. She was originally named Mrs. Chamomile because they wanted to associate her with something that was soothing and calming, but it was hard for them to pronounce. So they changed it to Mrs. Potts, and they thought it would be easier for kids to say, and there's a lot that you could rhyme with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like, his chamomile would be, like, I get it, like the chamomile tea and stuff, but
Right.
It is very hard to say.
Especially for little kids.
Yeah. And it just makes it a little clumsy, I think. So, yeah, I don't necessarily like that name, so I'm glad they changed it.
Yep. And then Lumiere was also supposed to be a different name. He was supposed to be Chandel, I want to say, or maybe Chandel, like chandelier.
Yeah. No, I like Lumiere way more.
Me too.
Lumiere makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I just thought those were pretty cool. Chris, what about yours?
I'm trying to think. I don't know the fact, but it's somewhat tied to it. But did you know that last week there's a new book series that continues on with the story?
Did not.
Yeah. The first one is Rebel Rose, and it's a Canadian author, and it came out November 10th. And it tells about after the spell's broken and their life.
Really?
And
Interesting.
it takes place it takes place leading up to the French Revolution.
Very interesting. I may have to check those out.
Yep.
Very cool.
Mhm.
So that's not movie specific, but that is still really cool.
Yeah.
Angela Lansbury didn't originally want to sing Beauty and the Beast. There was another character that she wanted to sing it. but the director asked her if she would just give it one try, just one take, just to see, how it went. And they ended up using it, and that was the only time she ever sang the song.
Oh, wow. So it's like a one-take wonder.
Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. And all of her lines were recorded on her breaks when she was doing Murder, She Wrote.
Very cool.
That's impressive too.
Yeah.
I mean, to go from one to the other, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
She is an impressive lady.
She is that. Now, it kind of maybe a feed into what yours is, Jared, but the theory that Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast are in the same universe because of some of when Belle was talking and discussing the book that she's reading with the prince and his disguises and sword fights, but then also in Aladdin there is a small
a Beast figurine,
I guess, toy.
Yeah, no, for sure there is that you do see. Yeah, we've talked about that before on the show as well. Like whenever we did the Aladdin fan theories, we talked about the possibility of the book that she loves reading so much being the story of Aladdin. So, yeah, I feel like there is some kind of connection there behind the scenes that they haven't really discussed one way or the other.
But a lot of Disney movies are like that, where they're kind of connected, but they're not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we get it with like Tangled and Frozen. We get, I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I kind of stumbled on to whenever I was doing some research for Lefou is that the guy who played Lefou in the English version also played Lefou in the Spanish version. So it's the same actor.
Was Lefou in the Spanish version?
I don't know if it was the same name, but it was the same character.
Very cool.
I guess if he was named Lefou in the French version, it has a different meaning for them there because they know what the words mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you automatically see him as an idiot because that's what they're calling him. Interesting. Did you know that it was the first animated movie ever nominated for a Best Picture award?
Nominated for Best Picture?
Best Picture.
I did not know that.
It did not win for that, but it did win for Best Music Original Song and Best Music Original Score. Also, another animated movie wasn't nominated for Best Picture until Up in 2010.
Wow.
That's a pretty big distance between
19 years.
Yeah.
Because it was nominated, Beauty and the Beast was nominated in 1992. So for 19 years, it was the only animated film ever nominated for that.
That surprises me because you had all of the Toy Stories that were in that time, weren't they?
So, not all of them. Some of them were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And usually if you listen to any or read any of this stuff about the top Disney films, Toy Story is usually always up in the top, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but critics are different.
I know, but I mean, not just critics, but it was just normal fans usually put that up there.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. The critics are the ones who do the nominations for the awards. So they have different feelings most of the time. Yeah. But I still love Beauty and the Beast, and I like Up. So for those, I would agree with them.
So I'm glad we're talking about like awards and nominations, because did you know that 3 songs from this soundtrack were actually nominated for an Oscar?
Yes, I did.
Do you know which songs?
Be Our Guest, Beauty and the Beast, and Belle.
That is correct. Do you know which one took home the Oscar for Best Original Song?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. That is correct. 2 for 2 on that one. Congratulations.
I did it. I double did it.
Like, could you imagine being the other 2 songs that were nominated and be like, oh, there's 3 songs from this movie? Come on. Like, is there really a shot that we have this?
Yeah. That would have been hard to go up against those 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are
'Cause
3
they're all
tough
good
ones.
songs.
They are
Yeah.
all good songs.
I love all of the songs.
Yeah. I mean, the soundtrack to this movie is just great.
It is. I still sing them all the time. So, yeah, it's great. So, David Ogden Stiers, I believe I'm pronouncing that correct, played Cogsworth in the movie. Cogsworth wasn't meant to be a romantic or anything, but he improvised the line, well, there's the usual things, flowers, chocolates, promises you don't intend to keep, whenever he was talking to Beast and Lumiere. And they decided to keep it in there. And it kind of fits.
So that was ad-libbed?
It was totally improvised. It was not intended to be in the movie.
That just seems like it was intended to be in the movie.
It really does. It fit perfectly.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
It's really a great line. Because the youngins won't necessarily get it, but
yeah,
if you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Which is like a lot of Disney movies.
Yes.
They have to, you know, not just get the kids there, but get the parents there to actually enjoy it as well.
Right. And I think that's something that sets Disney apart for a lot of the movies, is the adults enjoy them too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, for fans of Hidden Mickeys like Jared, that there is a Hidden Mickey in the movie?
Oh, is there?
There is.
And where would this be?
Don't tell them. They can find it.
It's in the library scene when Beast is giving Belle the library.
Is it in the painting on the like the decor on the shelves?
Nope. It is actually part of the bookshelf. So on the very center bookshelf up at the top is a Hidden Mickey. Now you know.
Now you know. So look for it next time you're watching the movie.
Exactly. Walt Disney actually tried to make Beauty and the Beast 2 times. In the 1930s.
Oh.
And the 1950s. No, Walt Disney himself tried to make the movie.
Okay. I thought you meant like they tried to make the movie twice, and I was like, they did. They had the animated and the live action.
Ha, ha, ha. Before it actually came out, Disney tried to make the movie twice.
That's really
interesting. In the 1930s and the 1950s.
So when was Snow White released? I'm just wondering, like, what if Beauty and the Beast was the first Disney animated? That would be really interesting.
1937.
1937. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been.
Yeah. Well, but if Snow White came out in 37, it was probably in production for a long time before that.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So probably Beauty and the Beast probably would have been the second.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on when he started planning it. Like if he planned it in like 31 and then started it and then finished it in like 35.
You think they finished animated movies in 4 years then? I thought it took longer than that.
I don't know. I mean,
I thought they were taking like 10 years.
I don't know if they were taking 10 years. I mean, because he had been developing his animation style for a long time, and
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. I'll probably look it up after the show, but
yeah,
I don't think it would take 10 years for it. I mean, it would take multiple years.
Yeah. Well, speaking of how many years, this movie actually took 2 years to make, and normally it takes 3 to 4.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
I don't.
Okay.
I do know that there are some tricks that they used to speed up the process. For instance, the dance scene with when they sing Beauty and the Beast is borrowed animation from Sleeping Beauty. So if you look at them side by side, they're basically the same, with Prince Adam and Belle on one, and Sleeping Beauty and is it Prince Charming?
Going back to
Interesting.
your other thing about that, it may have been the first one. If that had been the first one, then would Disneyland have a different castle?
Probably so, yeah. I would think it would.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Okay, so I looked it up. I couldn't wait. The film took 3 years, roughly, from 1934 to 1937. So like 3.5-ish years.
Okay. So for Snow White.
For Snow White, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And that's pretty impressive because they didn't have any prior film laying around that they could steal off of and cut down and do shortcuts.
I mean, that's true to some extent. Like, they didn't have like the Disney animated stuff, but I mean, Disney had been animating stuff for a while, so he had some stuff that he was already developing. So they probably had some stuff that they did testing with that he probably copied from.
Yeah. Yeah, because even when he was here in Kansas City, he was still working on the animation of a live person to an animated figure.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. I'm glad that somebody did it.
Yeah. They also used smoke. So the smoke whenever Beast transforms is not animated. It's actually real smoke, and it was used in Black Cauldron.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So those are 2 ways, at least, that they help speed up the process of the movie.
Black Cauldron isn't talked about nearly enough, I don't think.
I have not seen that since we were really little, so I'm going to have to go back and rewatch because I just don't remember it.
It's been a long time since I watched it. I did start it when Disney Plus first came up, but I didn't finish it because I got busy and was doing other stuff and just never went back to it. But I do need to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah.
And I thought I read somewhere they're going to remake it.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah. Never know.
Because I mean, it's a cult classic. Like, if you're a fan of it, you're a fan of it. If you're not, you probably have never heard of it. So, I wouldn't
Odds
doubt.
are that's what I'd say. Odds are they'll remake it into a live action and destroy it.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
So Beast is made up of several different animals. He's made up of a lion, a buffalo, gorilla, a wild boar, a bear, and a wolf.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. So a little bit here, a little bit there. And in the castle, the sculptures you see are mainly previous versions of what the Beast was going to look like.
Oh, that's cool. Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So different iterations of what they were considering the Beast to look like.
And
so it's really cool.
And Belle is walking through and like staring them down. So it's very interesting that that's like the artistic background of the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It makes you look at it in a different way.
Yeah. Kind of going back to your last one though, with him being made up of so many different animals, I'm wondering if they did that to kind of portray certain qualities of each animal within Beast.
Oh, I'm sure that they did. Like his brow is the brow of the gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
He's headstrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. But yeah, they took different pieces because they didn't want it to just be an animal that you see every day, you know?
Yeah.
They wanted it to be different and unique, and that's how they did it. And also, my last one is that Beauty and the Beast is the first Disney animated film to cross the $100 million made at the box office.
That's pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
It is.
Especially for that year.
Yeah. For the 90s. That's
early
big
90s.
Deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
91.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You're welcome. Oh, wrong movie.
Dork. All right. So fan theories. I have quite a few. You know, I love fan theories, and I pull them up as much and I talk about them as much as I possibly can. Amanda, I know you're probably sick of me talking about fan theories, but
do I need a tinfoil hat for these?
You may want to break it out.
I don't think tinfoil hat necessarily needs to be in your arsenal right now, but I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out at the end to see if you would need one.
Have it on standby just in case.
Yeah, have it on standby for sure. All right, so the first one that I want to talk about is Beast was a child when he was actually cursed. So we know that
That's
Beast
not really a fan theory.
It is a fan theory, though. So we know that Beast is older whenever he transforms back out of the Beast form. We also know, because of the song, that they have been enchanted for 10 years. And the flower is supposed to bloom until his 21st year.
Mm-hmm.
So
he'd have been 11.
He would have been 11, like 10-ish, 11-ish, around that age.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he was.
So how is this
cursed.
a fan theory? Because it was all in the movie, and they ended up changing the movie because of this, because fans pointed it out, but that doesn't make it a fan theory because it was already in the movie.
But it wasn't in the movie because you never see him as a child.
But by what you were saying, the rose only blooms until his 21st birthday. They mentioned his birthday, his 21st birthday. They mentioned it originally in the movie. So you knew that. Lumiere in the song sings that they've been resting for 10 years. So you know it's been 10 years since they've been in enchantment.
Yeah.
So as long as you can do math, you can figure out he was 11 years old.
When did you see him as a child? When do
you don't see him?
Okay,
but
think about
No,
you don't know, because think about whenever you're watching the movie and it's opening in the stained glass window theme, right? And telling you the backstory of how the Beast became the Beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he look like an 11-year-old child? No, he looked like an adult human person.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes along with which goes along with when you get done with yours. I have a fan theory that if you don't hit on it, it answers that.
Okay, well, I have several, so keep it until the end. All right. The one that kind of goes along with this that I wanted to talk about was the portrait specifically. And there is a fan theory that the portrait is also enchanted.
Kind of like a Dorian Gray thing?
Yeah, like it could be that because everything in the house is enchanted, right? So why wouldn't a painting be enchanted as well? But the thought is or at least my thought, I don't know if this goes along with the fan theory or not, but it got me thinking. And what if the portrait itself is aging with the Beast to show him what he would have looked like at that age that he would be currently?
It's possible.
Like a real slap in the face. Like, look how beautiful you would be if you were actually a decent human being.
Right. And that actually really makes sense, that part. I can go along with that.
So the next one that I want to talk about is fun to think about. I don't think you guys are going to fall for this one, but it is pretty funny in my opinion. So the fan theory is that the villagers are stuck in a time loop.
That's the one I had.
That's the one you had? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think it's funny.
And it actually makes a lot of sense.
It does make some sense, yeah.
Okay, explain.
Whenever we're at the beginning of the movie and Belle is going into town and she first approaches the village and there's nobody in the streets, right? She is basically getting there before anything starts. And this is kind of showing that she has already timed everything out, I guess, because she starts to walk through town. She is picking out certain aspects of the town, the villagers, and saying like, oh, there goes this person who does this same exact thing every day. Right?
It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. It's basically a time loop of Groundhog's Day. And whenever she is reading, she can navigate through the town and not have to look up from the book. The woman who pours the bucket of water onto the roof that flows down in through the gutter and Belle pushes the sign to block herself from getting wet, she does that without even looking. So the theory is that if the village is stuck in a time loop, and we do know that Belle came after the time loop because she does say something along the lines of, since she's shown up.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why the villagers think that they're weird because they don't fit in the time loop like they do.
Yes.
Which is what I was saying earlier with you're talking about that the beast was the same age he is now when he was enchanted, and he never aged, and that's why, Chip never aged when after 10 years he was the same age.
Yeah.
That's why Mrs. Potts was the same age as her husband, even though there'd been a 10-year difference. That they all were in a time loop, stuck at the exact same moment when they left, or when they became whatever.
Mrs. Potts' husband wasn't in the village. He was somewhere off somewhere else, so that's why he aged.
No, he aged the same as she did. They were all stuck in a time loop.
Yeah.
So neither one of them, to an outside observer, aged, but to them, it was 10 years.
Okay.
I don't think Amanda's
and also
buying
Belle
into it.
Yeah, and also Belle remarks in the thing when she's walking through town that the baker makes the same goods every day.
Yeah. There goes the baker with the tray like always.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden they broke that though, and
yeah, when the spell broke.
When the enchantment is broken, the time loop would be broken as well.
Okay, so you're saying every day they go and look for the beast?
It could be possible.
Every day, no.
It could be possible that within this day, so think about in Groundhog Day. So when Bill Murray is going through town, he's doing different things like every day, but it always reverts back to the beginning, which would be Belle coming out of her cottage, going into the village and seeing all the villagers come out as soon as she gets there.
Because remember, also, according to the theory, Belle and her dad are outside of that time loop.
Yes.
So that time loop skewed off into a different direction when her dad left to the next town over and then got lost along the way and went to the castle.
Which he was going to a festival that we never see.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
And also, too, in that theory, too, that was part of it saying that the enchantment made everybody in the town forget the castle.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have gone there, years ago.
Yeah, because, nobody knows about this castle.
Yeah.
That's just right outside of town.
But that could be an enchantment on the castle itself, that the castle has disappeared. Not necessarily on the village.
Sure.
It's just fun to think about because, like I said, Belle navigates through the town without looking up from her book. She knows exactly what's going to happen. So that's why somebody created this theory that the village is stuck in a time loop.
And I can
Well, and
see
also
that.
Mrs. Potts and her husband, because
Yeah.
he wasn't one of them, and he's the exact same age as she is.
Yeah.
He should have been 10 years older.
Right.
And therefore goes back to your thing earlier that the beast wasn't 11 years old when he got enchanted. He was the
Right.
same age as the day the enchantment broke. Did we break your brain?
Maybe.
She's thinking hard. All right. Well, while you're thinking of that, I'm going to go on to the next one. The next one is dealing with Gaston. So we all know who Gaston is, obviously. And I'm glad Emily's not on this episode because we would just probably talk about Gaston this whole episode. But Emily might actually like this fan theory. So this fan theory goes into the end of Gaston could doom the village. And this one's pretty interesting just because we all know Gaston is the most alpha male of the village, right? So
Right.
he acts as a provider for the village. He would be somebody who goes hunting a lot, would be able to provide with food, go boar hunting or deer hunting, whatever it may be. He could bring back a lot of food for the villagers to trade and barter and, get various goods, right?
All his eggs.
Yeah,
I was about
all
to say,
his
They're
5
gonna have a
dozen
whole lot of
eggs.
extra eggs.
Yeah. So if Gaston is not around, then the village could probably not prosper.
It would be overrun by chickens.
Yeah, it would be overrun by chickens indeed.
That or the village would be the first one that would start the reign of terror in the French Revolution because they didn't have anything and the castle did, and they would get
Yeah.
jealous and angry and storm the castle like they did before.
The
And the
peasants
French Revolution
revolt.
starts.
Yeah.
Yep. And Adam and Belle off with their head.
But see, the difference is Adam didn't tell them that they could just eat cake.
True. He just said eat eggs.
Yeah, eat eggs. Eat all the
No,
chicken
that was
eggs.
Gaston.
Well, there's a lot of leftover eggs, so somebody's got to eat them.
Yeah, somebody's got to eat all the eggs that Gaston's not eating.
They would just get really tired of eating chicken all the time.
Probably so. All right, so this is the last one that I have, and I'm really curious to see what you two think of this one. Amanda, I kind of already know what you think about this one, but here goes. There's a fan theory that Chip is not the child of Mrs. Potts, but he is actually the illegitimate child of Prince Adam and the Enchantress.
I don't like it.
I'd heard it.
I can see this one being real.
I don't like it.
I think it's very interesting. Okay, so here's the first thought right off the bat. Mrs. Potts is an older woman, and we're talking about France at a time that didn't have like fertility drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 100% just completely impossible? No, but it's just implausible. So
Maybe she's younger than she looks.
okay, how old do you think she would be?
Well, she looks like she's probably in her 60s, late 50s, early 60s. But maybe she just grayed early. She does have a little boy. I can tell you from experience, they will gray you early.
That's fair. But
Also, it's France 1700s, so
yeah,
she could have been 35
That's
and looked
true.
like that.
That is
That's
true.
fair. I don't see it. I don't see Mrs. Potts as being the mother. So that means that if this theory is correct, then it would mean that there's something going on with Prince Adam and the Enchantress, right? So
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be them.
I mean, but that's the fan theory, though. So I'm just going with the fan theory.
I'm just trying to rebuke. Is that the right word?
Rebuke?
Sure. Your fan theory. Maybe it's Mrs. Potts' grandchild that maybe his parents passed away. Sounds very familiar.
Okay.
That sounds like every other Disney movie.
Yeah.
Parents passed away, and she took him in. And he was so young when it happened that he calls her mom.
Okay. But
it doesn't have to be.
You're right. It doesn't have to be, but this is the fan theory, and I want to talk about the fan theory. So there is, of course, the fan theory says that the Enchantress and Adam had an illegitimate child together, and Adam kicked her out of the castle, and that's why she came back and enchanted him. Like disguised herself and then enchanted him for, saying, oh no, you can't stay here. But if you think about it, like if Prince Adam would have had an illegitimate child, then he wouldn't have wanted that illegitimate child to be out in the world. So he would have probably done something to keep the child from being like out in society. So it would make sense for him to take the young son and give him to one of his servants. And
but also
if Mrs. Potts is, maybe she never had children, maybe she was never able to have children, or, maybe she was just missing her own children and had empty nest syndrome and wanted to raise somebody else. So it could explain what happened.
All right. So according to you and your fan theories.
This is not my fan theory. I didn't come up with this fan theory.
No. But I just want to make sure I get this straight. Prince Adam, at 11 years old, got the Enchantress pregnant. She had his baby, went and enchanted him, and before that, he had given his baby to Mrs. Potts.
So you do realize that not all of these go together, right? These fan theories are developed by different people, and not all of them are going to be tying into each other.
Adam would have to be like, he'd have to be like 6 years old when him and the Enchantress got together.
You know what? Right. You know what? Let's go with this though. Let's say that he is 11 and he does get the Enchantress pregnant at 11 years old. It wouldn't surprise me. It actually
had been earlier than that because he had already given the baby away.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Earlier than that.
Like we're talking about a time whenever children were being married at like 12 years old. So I would not be surprised. So yeah, how about that?
He was younger than that. He was probably
he's a prince.
Impossible.
He's a prince.
Oh, so because he's a prince.
Yeah. Royalty is treated very differently than the peasants.
They are, but that doesn't mean it's physically possible.
Now, if he was prince, then maybe. But he is just a prince, not the prince.
Okay.
So therefore, I mean, you'd have to assume that the time loop theory was in effect as well for that to happen. Otherwise, he would be 11.
Yeah.
He'd really be like 8 or 7.
Right. I'm just saying the fan theories do not necessarily tie into each other. They are just fan theories that are developed on their own. So I am talking about them as they apply on their on.
Okay.
Yeah, for this one, I'm going to have to wear the tinfoil hat.
Well, you can go grab it. Yeah, I mean, this is very interesting to me. The thing that got me excited was going back and watching the beginning of the movie whenever you have the stained glass windows fairy tale story of what happened to Prince Adam to be cursed, right? And we all know that fairy tales are elaborated, right? So automatically that means that it could be possible that this story that we're told at the beginning of the movie is not 100% accurate. So, with that being said, if it's not an accurate story and it's a fairy tale that's being told to us, what really happened? Because we do know that fairy tales do have some instance of reality tied into the story to give us some kind of,
Connection
learning
to
moment or connection to whatever happened. So is there a different story that we're not being told and now we're just being told this fairy tale?
It's
I don't
way
think
too
so.
late at night for me to think this.
I just think it's interesting. Like, because I saw the fan theory, and I've heard of this fan theory before, but I saw the fan theory and it got me thinking. And then I went back and watched the movie, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. This is a thinking moment.
Yeah. You are our resident conspiracy theorist.
I am. They're just fun to me. I like talking about them. Not that I believe them, but I do like to talk about them.
Well, did you all know, and I didn't realize this until I was doing research for it, that in the original, the animated movie, when they're doing the Be Our Guest, the utensils put together to form an Eiffel Tower. But in the 2017, they had to take it out because the Eiffel Tower wasn't even started when this movie was supposed to have taken place.
Fortune tellers.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. I guess I never noticed that.
Since you mentioned that part, I forgot to mention earlier that originally Be Our Guest was supposed to be sung to Maurice. And they ended up changing it because they were like, why are we wasting this song on a second
Tier character
when it should be to Belle, who is the main character?
Yeah,
We're
poor
wasting it.
Maurice.
Yeah. But he is. I mean, he's just a supporting character, not necessarily the main point of the show.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for it to be directed to Belle.
It does make a lot more sense. I'm glad.
Come on, Jared. We're both dads. We know we're second tier characters.
I know we are. It's
whatever.
Dads get no respect.
But we got jokes.
We do have jokes.
Bad jokes.
All right. Well, that's going to end it for this episode. Let's go ahead and get into some mousekeeping. We want to promote our YouTube that is found at bit.ly/T3M YouTube, and that's all lowercase. Again, that link is bit.ly/T3M YouTube. Find us on social media. That includes TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us at T3M Podcast. If you love the show, let us know. Leaving us a 5-star written review is the best way to let us know how we're doing. And the best way to help us grow is to tell others about the show. If you have other Disney fans in your family or friends, then just mention us and hopefully we'll gain a new listener.
I'd love to plan your next magical getaway. Whether you're looking for a Disney vacation, Universal vacation, all-inclusive resort, international destination, or a cruise, I'm here to help. Contact me when you're ready for your free, no obligation quote. And don't forget that my services are complimentary. You can find me on Facebook at Amanda.Hollis, Capture the Magic Vacations, or you can send me an email at amanda.hollis@capturethemagicvacations.com. You can find my contact information in the show notes.
Join us for our next episode, releasing Thursday, December 2nd. And also join us for our live shows. You can find those on Thursdays at YouTube and on Facebook Live. You will not see us have a live show this coming up Thursday because it will be Thanksgiving, but our next live show should be December 9th. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. You can also be a part of the magic by following the show at T3M Podcast on all social media platforms. That's T3M Podcast. Leave us a 5-star written review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. If you have an announcement that you would like to have on the show or just want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at t3mpodcast@gmail.com.
Have a zippity-doo-dah day.
See you real soon.